So in 2010, Bionicle was ended, but before it did end, it gave us one more wave of admittedly some pretty interesting characters, to say the least, and one of those characters was Gresh, reappearing for the first time since 2009. Yeah, a strange choice, I think, but not a bad one. It does come with some pretty interesting pieces, and one of those pieces is honestly one of my favorites from the entire wave. This piece right here. It is the Stars Gresh armor specifically, and I'm honestly kind of shocked, kind of sad we did not see it used elsewhere. Hero Factory very easily could have used a piece like this in a recolor, but unfortunately that was not the case, meaning that this is exclusive to Gresh Stars. However, like the other Stars armor piece, it only has one connection in the form of an axle on the back. Now, being an axle, it is pretty useful. It means that it's not going to like rotate on its own depending on the type of connection you use, what you connect it to, but it is a little bit underwhelming and a bit restrictive at certain times. So I actually found a way to use this without using that axle, or you can use it in tandem with the axle, and it involves this piece right here, which I have out of frame. This one, this little bar clip accessory piece, which is a really useful piece, by the way. Probably should have used a black one for the sake of this video, but hopefully you can see that. The way that this is shaped, it has these sanded sides. I don't know what else to call them. Flat sides. And those are actually able to fit inside of the gap here with clutch. I'm honestly kind of surprised that it works. You can push it in and it will sort of clip in place, and it's not actually that easy to remove. You can remove it and you can rotate it a bit. It's actually surprisingly easy to rotate, but it holds on there with pretty good force, and honestly that shocks me. Now, how is that usable? How is that useful? I honestly don't know. I like it, and I think it's a really good use for the part if you wanted to, say, stack it as like scales or something on a build, like the snake build that I am working on. But admittedly, it's not a connection that I have used yet. I, first off, just discovered it a handful of days ago, and there's actually a pretty interesting illegal connection that'll come up in another video involving this piece as well, and a piece you might be a little more familiar with. But it's still a really fascinating use for that piece in general, because LEGO made this near exactly the size of an anti-stud, this connection, this opening rather, on the back. It's just a little bit too big for an anti-stud to actually grip it, meaning you can't like connect it to a LEGO piece there. It's going to just fall out, but it gets pretty close. However, the fact that this can actually go in there and connect in full is pretty cool. Pretty cool. This is honestly one of the pieces I plan to resin cast because I really love the aesthetic of it, and I've seen some really interesting mocks use this piece in other colors that I would like to try my hand at. One color I would love to see for this piece is dark blue. Having this sort of like fang structure on the front and these scales on the back not only feels appropriate for a jungle or air-based character like Gresh, and of course is a sort of snake motif nod to a character like Vastus, but also those scales feel very in line with an aquatic character, right? And so I think it'd really work out quite well on a character of water, and specifically one that I would love to build is Holly from Marinui, but in Stars form. This is a build that I actually saw a long time ago, probably 6 or 7 years, maybe even more ago, from a, I guess, designer mockist, but it was a piece of artwork named Toa Tyome. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. That was over on DeviantArt several years ago. They have their own version of a Holly Stars character, and it looks glorious. It uses the sword hilt piece from Ekar or from Matanui the Glatorian as wings, and it's just a really clever use of those parts. And I was honestly always shocked with how the Stars gave us a brand new mold for feet specifically, but only used them on 4 of the 6 sets. It kind of made sense with the Paraka not to use it, though personally I would have loved to have seen it there. But for the Rakshi, it was a little bit weird, because Rakshi kind of have feet that are structured very similarly to Stars. Not perfect, but much closer than the clawed two-toe feet that we ended up getting. Am I mad that we got the two-toed feet? Yeah, kind of. It's a fragile piece, but it was at least a recolor for that piece. I'm not going to complain too much about it. But yeah, I absolutely wish we would have seen this a bit more. If you are somebody who is interested in the Stars sets, let me know which one is your favorite down in the comments below. I really think Gresh is probably the best in my personal opinion, but a handful of them actually come with some pretty usable pieces. But that's pretty much it for this video. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, because it does help the channel out. There's also a bell you can apparently ring. I've heard about it, but I've never heard the bell. Of course, you can also join the conversation down in the comments below, or take it further over on Discord, Instagram, or Patreon, all of which are linked in the description. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.